Sean Payton fees, as we all saw. This is getting juicy. Sean Payton stepping down as the Saints head coach, and he is officially taking a year off. The reports have broken. And, caller, you with us tonight? Can you hear us? What's going on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, what's happening, man? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man, what's going on? Chris Johnson calling from Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, okay. What's happening, Chris? Talk to us tonight.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'll call in. I'm a big 49er fan, and my main man, famous Feed, that's my line, brother. So I had to call in and top it up with him tonight.
Yes, sir. That's my dog.
Talk to us, Chris. What's up,
got
man?
on your mind tonight?
Hey, man. First of all, I had to call in and give y'all one of my favorite Kobe moments, man. Is in that 2000, that 2001, you know what I'm saying, NBA Finals Game 4 when Kobe, you know what I'm saying, Shaq don't fouled out, and Kobe takes over in the overtime and kind of just push everything down when he leads them boys, you know, into that win in that game for to take that 3-1 lead.
Yep. That's
one of my favorite Kobe moments. You know, also, you know, those Kobe commercials, man, y'all got to talk about those. That Kobe system, he was always a brilliant mind when it came down to those commercials.
Of course. What makes a great man after sports is being a great salesman. Look at The Rock, man. Look at Shaq. I mean, look at Kobe. What he was going for, you know, after the fact. But hey, man, we appreciate you calling in and sharing your favorite Kobe moment with us. We're on Sean Payton at the moment. Did you have anything to say about him stepping away from New Orleans? I know you're from Atlanta. You probably hate him through and through. Tell us what you think about that. Still with us, Colin?
Say again?
Sean Payton leaving the Saints. Your thoughts on it, bro?
Oh, man. Sean Payton knew it was time, man. Have y'all seen that salary cap? They're like $70 million over the salary cap. Sean Payton looked at that. He looked around the league. He looked around the league and said, man, I'm out of here. I can't do this.
Yeah. Definitely tough. Hey, well, we appreciate you calling in tonight, man. We're going to continue on, but hey, feel free to hop in the chat. Give a call back with a later topic if you want. Fees, I'm going to flip it over to you, though, brother. What do you think could have sparked Sean Payton making the call to get out of New Orleans?
Hey, man, it's really actually easy to see what sparked it. I mean, hey, shout out to my man Square, Chris Johnson calling in. That's my dog, my ace dog, my LB. Y'all see all these brands on my arm. He came through this with me. That's my guy. But Sean Payton, he stepped down because he saw the writing on the wall. There are no players in New Orleans.
Yeah.
He has no quarterback, nothing resembling a quarterback. Michael Thomas is either broken down or acting as he's Julio Jones because he's ready to go. All he's got out there is Alvin Kamara. The defense is not enough. Like Sean Payton built something out there. He came in. He had Drew Brees for basically his entire tenure, made it to a Super Bowl, had a very good football team the entire time he was there. He's done with it.
Yeah.
Like he's not stressed out. He's looking at what the road is on, like what the future, like what it is down the road. There's nothing there. He's not trying to rebuild. He doesn't want to stay. It's stressful because he knows if he stays, he'll get fired within the next 2 seasons. So he's going to step down and possibly take that Dallas Cowboys job so he doesn't have to deal with that. It ain't going to be a whole lot different over there. The expectations are going to be through the roof. But, yeah, I mean, it's easy to see why he's stepping down. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm going to do my best to be concise with this here because there's so much to unpack with Sean Payton and his abrupt departure. So, you know, we remember when Sean Payton got re-signed and, you know, they absolutely crapped the bed in the playoffs in Minnesota, wild card round. It was horrible. But so, you know, speaking of his time there and how he's stepping down so abruptly, but asking yourself what could have sparked this, you know, Drew Brees gets out of town. And Sean Payton and Drew Brees, when they met, they were, brand new into essentially trying to build their name in a different place. Sean Payton openly said in an interview, I didn't want to coach in New Orleans. It wasn't a place that you wanted to move to and start a family. Drew Brees coming in, obviously, off of the injury, Dolphins passing him up. We know the whole story. But Sean Payton and Drew Brees coming together, they really started that foundation. And it's kind of like when we see certain people break off in a relationship and the other person just, maybe loses the best of themselves. That could be a thing that was here for Sean Payton. And the fact that there were more quarterback changes in one season than all of his previous years in New Orleans, that was definitely a curveball for him. The no call was absolutely horrible. And to hear a report break today, so the year after the no call, there was a deal. We remember when Anthony Davis requested a trade from the Pelicans. Well, let's see, not Gail Benson, Dennis Allen, I believe. There was something to go on. I don't remember, with one of the owners. I believe Tom Benson was still alive at the time. Yes, and AD asked for a trade from the Pelicans. Well, Sean Payton, after the no call, apparently was wanting to go back to Dallas, but Tom Benson didn't let it happen because he was like, "There's no way the city can handle Anthony Davis, our star, getting out of town and then turning right around and Sean Payton wanting to leave as well." And I just got to vent a little bit personally before we get onto the other aspects. To me, this kind of seems weak from Sean Payton because we knew that his time was potentially ticking in New Orleans. For me, if we weren't $100 million over the cap, I was ready for him to go. Set an NFL record for 4 straight seasons with the most wins but no Super Bowl appearances. So times are getting tough. And I'm not saying you folded, but damn, you couldn't even see it through for 2 or 3 seasons after this. One season, it's over, I'm out. Michael Thomas isn't potentially wanting to come back. Alvin Kamara, that's all we have. The defense is kind of sliding apart. But he did admit that his heart was not in it. And we know, like anything in life, if you're not obsessed, rather, if you're not crazy about it, then some people say don't do it. But it does give me a little hint of weakness from Sean Payton. We know he's a very witty guy. We tell him try to not outthink the room, which he does, I feel like, sometimes more often than not in the big moments. But nonetheless, he did a lot for New Orleans. So now we got to ask next, Fees, who should New Orleans be looking for to replace a legend in Sean Payton?
New Orleans needs a lot.
Just a coach, bro.
They need a quarterback. They need a coach. They need an overhaul. They need so much. But, in my response to this, I can't even give you a name.
Right.
All I'm going to tell you is, I hate to say this way. So what?
Here he goes. Why do they have to wear the damn beanie?
What I will say is, for all my listeners, some of you, I need you to close your ears. I don't want any black head coaching candidate to go to the Saints because it's a dumpster fire and they suck. Don't go there. I'm tired of seeing black head coaches go to these terrible situations and being set up to fail, to where they just bridge the gap to start fixing their disgusting problems internally. And then they get shipped out, and then someone else comes in that has zero melanin, and then they're successful in the same spot. Hire someone that looks like Sean Payton. That's all.
Jeez. Yeah, it's tough for me to put a name on it as well, Fees, because, one of the things that I've been saying as a Saints fan for the last 4 years is, we've been a top 3, top 5, top 10 team, however we want to call it, the last few years in the NFL. But the Saints, the game was kind of moving away from them, kind of like we say with Russell Westbrook, the game moving away from him. The Saints went from this creative offense, kind of a finesse team, brought in the 2 running backs in AK and Ingram, but they could not take shots down the field. There were quite a few years where Drew Brees was towards the bottom of the league in air yards, where the Saints were towards the bottom of the league in yards per play, to where they were towards the bottom of the league in, big plays in the NFL. The NFL is turning into those, 2-3 play drives, not your 15, 16, 75, 80-yard drives that the New Orleans Saints were constantly doing season in, week in, game in, and game out. And I'd love to go and, potentially get a Byron Leftwich or an Eric Bieniemy or some of these other guys out here, that could run the offense. But like you said, Fees, it's a tough situation right now to where New Orleans doesn't have any offensive presence. Like, I hate to say this, I'm so damn glad I didn't buy a Michael Thomas jersey, but I don't know if we're like what's going to happen with Michael Thomas. I don't want to say we might not see him again, but the way things are unfolding with New Orleans, how many more hits can they take? It is only Alvin Kamara. There is nobody else outside of Michael Thomas. Jared Cook left. Emmanuel Sanders left. I mean, it's getting to the point for the Saints to where they are going to start having to giving away their strong suits in the trenches on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball, on the line, to where like that might be how they have to build collateral, but they have no offensive presence. The league is doing nothing but essentially, I guess, moving more away from them. So I guess if we're talking a defensive coach, I mean, maybe a Matt Nagy, maybe a Brian Flores, but who, again, when Sean Payton came to this team, he said this was not a job. I didn't want this job. I wanted to go coach in Green Bay, but Mike McCarthy told me that he got the job, so I went here to New Orleans. And unfortunately, the economy hasn't improved that much. New Orleans is still a nice place to visit, not stay for maybe more than a week, in my opinion. But who is the job going to attract? That is the ultimate question. Now, Fees, before we roll off and get on to the last half of the show, will he return as a New Orleans Saint, or where can you see Sean Payton landing after he might come back from, retirement for the NFL?
Sean Payton will probably return as an analyst somewhere for one of the networks. He should not go to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I hear there's so much buzz about it, and everybody talking about like, oh, well, yeah, they need him because he won a Super Bowl and he sustained a culture where they were winning, and he had Drew Brees at a great quarterback, and he knows how it's done.
Right.
You know who else's resume that sounds like? McCarthy. Won a Super Bowl, had a quarterback, first ballot Hall of Famer, sustained greatness, great records the entire time.
Yeah.
He's not any different.
Right.
Sean Payton's resume is exactly the same as Mike McCarthy's.
Yep.
He's not going to help the Dallas Cowboys, and if they bring him in there thinking it's going to be any different, then they're stupid.
Yep. And Jerry wants a coach that, of course, we've all heard. He wants a coach that he can push around. He doesn't want a guy that's going to push back. And we know how emotional Sean Payton can be. We know how involved he is with his teams and overall what he wants to bring to the table. He wants to have the say-so. He wants to, essentially have that final say with New Orleans. Now, I have seen reports, I have seen articles breaking that, Sean Payton's focus is TV. It's TV, TV, TV. You mentioned him being an analyst. He could go somewhere, potentially make $10 to $15 million a year. We've seen Tony Romo be a big, hit on TV early on. Drew Brees is fitting in decently well with NBC. We've seen guys, we've obviously got Kurt Warner, we've got Troy Aikman, we've got guys that have went into broadcasting and it's comfortable for them. They're more reliable. They're there. They're not having to deal with the stress of an NFL game or knowing that you've got a player injured, all those essential mental liabilities that come along with being a head coach in the NFL. I can only hope and pray that he returns as a New Orleans Saint. I feel like there is a decent chance that he could leave the door open, but at least he was honest. His heart wasn't in it. I'm still kind of mind blown that he truly wanted to get out after the no call. I don't know what would have happened to the Dome, honestly. I hope his address isn't public, for people trying to skip Trace out there. That would have been a rough time for Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints.